musically about the song, it's really cool. Like it's a very catchy song, like kind of like super heavy White Zombie, and you know it lyrically or vocally has a great chorus, and it's one of the older songs that we wrote for the record, like when the writing process started. So
lyrically, I woke up at like 3 in the morning, reached over, grabbed my phone, turned it on, and wrote that chorus. They pray for villains when their heroes let them down, and then found it like 2 months later when we were writing, and threw it in to the lyrics that I had already had written for the verses. So kind of that song just kind of came together.
It's like a super heavy Pantera-esque track, slow groove, and has the really awesome change at the end of the song, and the kind of the thrashing out ending.
Crazy kick bass drum.
Yeah, like Berglund's, that's some of the hardest double bass on the record easily. Like it's pushing it, and that song slays.
And vocally, lyrically, it's about what we're about. Pure sincerity. If you listen to that song and you listen to it, you understand where DevilDriver's coming from. You know, in order to try to define ourselves with so many bands out there right now, it's important to have sincerity, so that's where we're coming from. Lyrically, we've just like been chased by the Grim Reaper ever since we've started. Everything from losing trailers to numerous things happening, and just fate stepped in to lend a hand means that, you know, we keep going, and it just, everything continues to go our way. As long as we work hard, we see the fruitions of that. So I think fate has to do with the destiny of DevilDriver.
It's like super rock and roll song. It's got that vibe. But the midsection is really, it's really progressive because we break it down, and there's like some, you know, really cool clean guitars, and it also finishes with a great outro that's like very progressive and different too, not just straight heavy. And so it's kind of encompasses like all aspects of the band as far as like our style, you know. So we do like straightforward stuff to more intricate stuff to rock and roll to kind of, you know, atmospheric stuff. So
intense groove on that song. Fun to do, great time to write. Lyrically, it's about so many different things, I couldn't really even put a finger on it, but just overall a great fun track for us to do, I think. And bringing it back to kind of start and putting a lot of hook and a lot of groove in it, and melody with it as well.
The catchiest song on the record by far.
Yeah.
In some ways, the song rules.
We want to keep groove and make sure that this thing was hooky as hell. You know, a lot of bands want to get heavier or faster. I think we said, let's become better songwriters. The music they brought to me made me step up vocally, I think, and then together the combination is the culmination.
Yeah, that's right. It's like that song, too, in particular, if you look at like the verse of it, it's like the verse for the guitar is really straightforward, but the drumming on it is super intricate, so it's like it's a really cool pairing, like the two together. Like it's like straightforward, but it's also like complex too.
About trying to stay home for more than a week and not get itchy. And not just, you know, have a cross to bear and get out on the road. I mean, that's what that's about. And trying to be sober at home as well. You know. Sometimes it's difficult.
I think it's like the quintessential intro of like the best intro that the band's ever done. That song, like, it builds like better than I think anything that the band's ever written.
It has a really strong riff in the beginning.
Yeah.
I love the first riff.
You know,
they let that ride for like 4 measures before I even come in, which is really unusual for us to, you know, because it's such a good riff, and it touches on all the things about being out on the road and what you miss. And after a week, I mean, I'm the kind of guy who starts fixing stuff in the house. It's not broken, and it's just time to leave. So that's about there.
It's got some sick sprites or shredding on it. So
it does.
That's another, yeah. Mike killed it on that song.
Yeah, Mike killed it on that song.
So.
Lyrically, It's about how to learn with your mistakes, learn and live with your mistakes and the mistakes of others. Learning to live on Resurrection Boulevard is hard for some people, but I think if you face it head on, then you'll learn from it and your life will grow. So lyrically, that's what it's about. And musically, I mean, I'm in love with that track. And they brought that track. That was the second track that I started writing to. Was that track.
I think it's the most different song the band's ever written, and it shows like probably the most growth as a band. I think that it's everything from the playing to the writing to like the way the vocals and the music match up together to like all the parts of the song. I think it's like the most well-written song.
About learning how to forgive those who trespass against you, which no one can really do. People have a hard time, so they carry grudge and hate around the rest of their life. But it's just not that way. I think you can learn from that too. You know, forgiveness is a sixth gun. Teach me how to shoot. It's basically saying, teach me how to learn how to forgive and forget and move on through life, so you don't carry the weight, the heavy weight that a grudge can be on your soul.
One of the songs on the record is Triplet Feel, and that makes it kind of different in a sense too.
See, that's why I brought you up.
I think it's got, well, yeah, any of the other guys would say it too, but Triplet Feel makes it a little bit different, and like, I think the chorus, like, I think vocally that's probably one of my favorite choruses on the record, and like, I dare, like, a lot of kids to try playing that verse riff on guitar because it's really, really fucking difficult. So, practice it, because I can't even play it. So.
Vocally, I don't know, first going into the music, because musically when that song was handed in, I kind of threw my hands up and didn't know if it was a DevilDriver track or not. And they all kind of had to convince me, and then once I really got into the song musically, I started falling in love with that song. And then I had it already written lyrically, and I kind of scrapped it all one morning. And I think it's probably one of the most personal lyrics I've ever written, because it's a time when I had to call somebody to ask them if I could write it lyrically. So it's actually about my wife having to show up to her mother's funeral and see that her makeup on her body was horrible and had to redo her mother's makeup for her funeral at a very young age when she was pregnant at the time. And the strength that must have just taken is unreal. And the line in their Scorpio Childs, because they're both born on the same day. So it's very difficult every time her birthday comes around for me to even try to have a birthday party and try to have a good time. You know, she goes into this whole other mode that's beyond depression. So waiting for November, trying to make you smile.
Miller wrote that intro and then brought it out when we first recorded that at Mike's house. I was the most psyched for the record. It was a while ago. It was probably like 9-10 months ago, or maybe like a year and a half ago. Yeah, because we recorded the record like 4 months ago now. But when I first heard that recorded, I was driving in my car. I was like so pumped on that. It's like, I love the end of the line, and I love that intro of the song, but that is like amazing. I think like the verses are great, and the song makes sense. It's real thrashy too.
Plus it's like an out-of-the-box track for us in the way where I love when those guys bring this kind of stuff to me sometimes. You know, because I think you got to force yourself as a writer to learn how to write to new things. Like, you know, fighting words on the last record. Like that's the last track I did. It was so hard for me to learn how to write to Mike's style of writing. And this is one of those tracks too that they all kind of got together and did that was very testing for me on how to write it. And I think it's definitely one of my favorite tracks on the whole record. I know Monty Connor in the States loves it, and all of us feel the same way about it. Is that if we could forge our future to go along with tracks like this and learn how to use our songwriting skill to do tracks like Waiting for November, I think the future is going to be golden when it comes to that.
Another like Mike song that he brought primarily, that like it was one of those songs that I didn't know what it was going to be until like I heard the vocals, and it's like slower, like, you know, slower, simpler song, and maybe some like, you know, Cry For Me Sky, but even slower and groovier. And But once I heard that with the lyrics, that song is great. That chorus is fucking awesome.
I've always heard the story coming around these guys that when Mike brought that in, he's like, "Hey, I wrote this. I don't know if you guys are gonna like it," and everyone went, "Oh man, we love that." So that was a track too. I did not know how to approach vocally, and these guys are constantly testing me to move beyond what I've done, or to do something different vocally for the band. So that was a test right there, and I had a piece of spoken word that I had written, and when I went into demo, I started right off of that spoken word because I had nothing when I came in that day to demo, and that track came together amazing. Definitely one of my favorite tracks on the record, and totally diverse for something that DevilDriver has done, both music-wise and vocally.
Yeah, like the midsection is almost like an interlude. It's like it comes out of nowhere with the guitar playing is very interlude-esque. I don't even know what the right word is, but it's like an interlude basically, and that comes out of nowhere. That's probably one of the bigger surprises on the album musically, because you don't really see that coming. And then it comes back full circle with a cool solo, and then the song ends. It's cool.
I think what's cool about us is we keep to try to define ourselves with different kind of stuff. Never fall back on the same album twice. And I mean, I know they push me 100% when it comes to the music they give me, so I try to push the boundaries as well. That's why this record for us is just a defining moment. We've all said it amongst ourselves, and now we hope the press, once the press gets it, they say the same thing, But lyrically, something I've got to give to that city. Something I got to give the UK. If you come to the UK and fans come out, then you know you're doing something right. Otherwise, you're going to show up to shows with nobody. So it's kind of like a deserving moment for London and for the UK in general. Is that if you come out and you put on a good show, you come ready to go. The fans are ready to go. That's an incredible moment. UK loves their metal, so it only seems so appropriate that we start a riot with that too.
Yeah, I think it's, well, I mean, even beyond lyrically, but I think the song itself is probably like DevilDriver as close to like punk rock as you would get. Like the structure, like the riffing, the drumming, and then like combined with the theme of the lyrics, it makes it super punk rock. And just, I don't know, I associate a lot of like punk rock with the UK and England and all that, so it kind of like comes full circle for me when I think about title and the way the song.
And it's a quicker song too, it's like only 3 minutes, and it's just kind of in and out.
Yeah. An awesome Miller riff, and that song's killer. The chorus is great, and that's like my favorite solo I've ever done on that record. But that song, like I always liked it a lot, but then it's like one of my favorite songs. It's like super straightforward, but the chorus is just awesome. It's really anthemic. I'd love to play it live. It's fun.
Another odd track out that when it got, I was literally dumbfounded and didn't know what I was going to do. So, tried to come up with something, and it ended up working. Like he's right, it's really anthemic, and it is really straightforward, but I think, some records need some of that on it. This would be that song that's straightforward and real anthemic. And lyrically, it's about somebody that's close to me on a daily basis that has to live with, sometimes the pill you swallow can be real bitter.
Song that parts of it were some riffs that I've written a long time ago, and there's the chorus I really like because it's very catchy, and I wrote like a really cool beat line that I'm really proud of, and it's another song that it's got the midsection that comes out of nowhere. So it's like a lot of times we write songs, like if we have a part that's a certain way, we try and contrast it with a part that's like another way. So if we have something that's like maybe not as heavy and a little bit more straightforward, we try and like say, all right, from the midsection, we got this idea that might work, that it just comes out of nowhere, and it's like the super just deadly midsection. So
for me, between Bitter Pill and that, those are the most least likely to succeed for me before vocals were put on, and I did not know what direction that this record was going in at that point. And I sat down with the guy that was demoing things with me, Greg Weiss, who's a great friend of mine, also an intense musician, he's a music teacher, and had to really think about the structure that these guys were doing. I made some structural changes to it, and probably within about 3 hours that song popped. I mean, it just started really coming together in the demo process. And I think Teach Me to Whisper, what it's about would be, you know, those moments when you got to keep your mouth shut. You feel like screaming and yelling, but you can't. You just, got to put your head down and keep your mouth shut. And just, our manager would say, let the music play itself out. So this was about a life moment that was just, well, let's just see how this plays itself out in real life, And fortunately, it turned out well.
That song is the most difficult, or was the most difficult song to record. It was tough, and it's probably the most technical song as far as the band's ever done, as far as intricate drumming and guitar playing, and then it ends with I think 2 really awesome solos, which is kind of cool to end an album with decently long solo where Mike and I trade off. We do that on Back with Vengeance as well, but those are the longest passages that we've ever soloed over. And when we wrote the song, it was already pre-written with the rhythm behind it. So we said we're going to pretty much make it this entire length. We took out a little bit, but
my favorite solo parts are when they do that shit, when they do it back and forth. There's going to be a lot more of that coming. Yeah. It's so interesting to listen to. It's so cool, to do. And then lyrically, what it's about. Everybody in the music industry, and especially heavy metal, is this dark with no hope and everything is bleak, and my glass is always half full. So I'm very rarely a pessimist. Determination and perseverance are just built in. So I see belief where no one else does. Really worked well. And it was actually going to be called Five Leaf Belief. So it was going to be Wheat Tin. But we took the consensus, and the general consensus was okay, wait, we may want to save that for another record. That topic at least. So it changed from 5 Leaf Belief to I See Belief. And it actually worked with the verses because I was talking about the same thing anyways, through the smoke and the haze, being able to see your future and know that destiny is written long before you can